go. I love y'all. Keep supporting comedy. And I want to thank each and every one of you black guys for dating these ugly-ass white chicks and taking them off our hands. Real business. My name's Ray Lapowski. I'm out of here.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. This is Lady Blacks again, coming at you with another video. If you're new to the channel, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Shout out to the new subbies. Welcome to the family, y'all. If anyone has any ideas, suggestions, or videos you want me to react to, you can always email me. My email is always in the About section, and it's ladyblacksakin@gmail.com. Finally, as you guys know, the dust is quite fierce. And so as I follow suit with other divestment channels, I have created a backup channel just in case we need a backup plan, and I will link that for you below. All right, y'all. So I have for today's topic a very important interview that I thought was really, really important to the discussions that we're having in this space when we talk about Black women empowerment and we talk about divesting and we talk about keeping our options open to other people. So today we have a special guest on the show today. I don't know, is this a show? Is this a podcast? I don't know. But with me, I have a very special guest. Some of y'all may have heard me reference in a couple of my videos, a couple that is very close to me. And I've briefly discussed their experiences as I saw them. And so today I am bringing the divested Black woman in that relationship to talk a little bit about her experience being a divested woman and just, you know, her background and where she comes from. This person is very, very, very important to me, and I love her very much. I would literally die for this person. So I am really excited for you guys to hear from her and her experience. And I hope that, you know, as we, you know, because I'm pretty sure I'll have her on a couple of times, but I hope that the more you hear from her, the more you become inspired in your journey to divest and keep your options open. And you've heard me briefly talk about her experiences as I see it, but she's here to talk about it from the person who actually lived it. So welcome to the show.
Hi.
So why don't you tell us about yourself? Who are you, without giving too much information, because we're all anonymous here. We got to keep ourselves safe from the dust. So without doxing yourself, of course, just briefly talk about where you come from and your experience and your perspective, and what is your overall insight about all this?
Wow, where to begin?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess I'll just say that I am your sister. I'm your older sister, and it would probably, you know, the beans would be spilled, and when you hear us laugh together, I think that's kind of a dead giveaway.
Right. So we figured we would just let y'all know the relationship, you know. So.
I am your older sister,
Mm-hmm.
And giving my perspective.
Yeah, so in episode 1, and you guys go and check out episode 1 where it's the introduction to this channel. It kind of gives a background of how I saw our childhood. What is your perspective on how we grew up?
Oh God. Well, we did grow up in a very diverse community,
Mm-hmm.
and not even just outside of that, like our family was pretty diverse, especially on our mother's side.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess on our father's side too, because they're all divested from Black women.
Exactly.
But on our mother's side, it was incredibly, we had all kinds of different folks coming together around the table, food and music, and just sharing of cultures between the Black side of the family and then the Latino side of the family. and then a few extra.
Sure.
We had a little bit of everything under one roof.
Yeah.
Not under one roof, but just when we would come together communally.
Exactly. And that's all great. And of course, you guys know that that's basically the position that we're coming from. But the focus of this channel is to empower Black women. And there's a lot of misconceptions, rightfully so, because when it comes to biracial people, but particularly women who are raised by when they have a white mom and then they have a self-hating Black father, right? And so since the primary focus is on Black women, and I've already given, like, my subscribers already know how I feel about them, but what is your perspective of Black women in general?
I mean, we were literally raised by Black women. Like, the people that our mother brought into the house, a majority of them outside of our family, people outside the family, right, were Black women. All of her friends were Black women, who were kind of, it's not funny, it's kind of sad, but having these discussions 20, 30 years ago, you know, so the discussion, the sad thing is that the discussion hasn't changed very much, and that's a generation. You know? So we were raised by Black women. And I know from like my circle of friends growing up were all Black people. So there's no, I've heard that we have, self-hate or whatever. And it's like, no. Like, have you seen, like, please.
Right. Exactly.
No, that's a negative. We do not have self, but we grew up in such a diverse, with a very firm foundation in Black culture and Latino culture. That we have a broad perspective. Not saying one side's better than the other or anything like that. It's just that we have a perspective that's, it's weird because we're inside but outside at the same time. So, with that being said, like, growing up in a diverse, open-minded, I think our mother did a very good job of making sure we experienced a lot of what was outside of our community. But also made sure that we knew where we came from.
Yes.
So there was no self-hate there or anything like that. So when I, growing up, there was never any, there was no, everyone has preferences, right? So,
sure.
You're attracted to what you're attracted to. I would say it's safe that we were attracted to everything. Yeah. Just because of the way that we were brought up and the way that I think even, it's hard to say, how much of it's nature versus nurture. Yeah. Because to be honest, I think it's pretty fair to say that nobody really in our family, especially like on our mom's side, was really fans of, white people. Let's just keep it real. Like, right. Our mother has her own stories of being tormented. Yeah. And she is racially ambiguous, could be white passing if she wanted to. Yeah. But the way that she was brought up, they knew that she was not white. And so she was called the N-word, chased home, kicked out of homes, growing up where she grew up, right? Yeah. So it's safe to say that she wasn't a fan of white people. Yeah, sure. So if anything, if we were to follow in her footsteps, we would take their money and that's about it. That's as far as our relationship would go, based on her business choices, sure, with her businesses. And so and you're older than me, so you have a different understanding. Yeah. So based off of the people mom brought around, right? Not the Black women. The Black women. Okay, We're focused on the Black women right now. Yeah. If you could summarize just your overall regard and opinion about Black women, just based off of what you know from how we were being taken care of by them. Black women are just salt of the earth. Like they really are. Like, just Black women are nurturing. They're just loving. They just care. They care so much. Sometimes I feel sometimes too much.
Yeah.
You know, like
100%.
And you know, and it's I've seen it get taken. I've seen them, black women getting taken advantage of because of that. Those characteristics that black women have. And it's just unfortunate, you know, when you talk about the black women, seeing so many wonderful, beautiful black women, and just how sad at points that they were, seeing what they most would call their natural counterparts choosing white women.
It's prevalent.
In
California.
It was prevalent when we were growing up. That's what we saw.
Yes.
That's what we saw. We didn't have, God, of all my black friends, I can tell you, there may be one of all my black friends that had a father in the home.
Yeah.
Nobody had a father in the home, and yet we see all these black men creating families, even in our own family. I'm thinking, just thinking of on two hands, you know, the black men in our family, not a single one is married to a black woman.
Yeah.
Not a one.
Right.
Even our own grandfather didn't choose. You know, he has his own issues growing up, how he grew up.
And you guys remember my grandfather's, he's biracial.
Right.
But he does have the black male pathology.
He does. It was just weird for him to see him embrace the diversity, but still lived his black side separate from everyone. So him being, you know, very involved in his church. You know, it was a black church.
Right. Southern Baptist,
black church, and that being separate. Like they went to, it was just interesting to observe. You know, it's almost, I don't know if he was ashamed. I don't know if it was just, I don't know what it was. He didn't really want to talk about it very much. Maybe there was just a lot of pain there because he did grow up Jim Crow South. You know, he saw the things that he saw. I can't even imagine. And I'm not trying to make excuses for him at all, you know, but.
Yeah. So let's shift the conversation about.
No,
it's okay. No, you're
okay.
You're good. This is good stuff because it gives the foundation of where we're coming from, and you know why we feel the way we feel, why I feel the way that I feel, and I go so hard. So let's shift it a little bit because again, you are a little older than me, and I've given my perspective of what it was like growing up in a diverse community and just having like that whole innocence when it comes to the black boys that I grew up with and the fact that they would be drawn to non-black women growing up. And I just wouldn't think anything of it, you know, just because of the innocence. And I wasn't realizing at the time that a pathology was forming.
No, I think that God, like, I don't even think.
Yeah,
I think
what is your opinion on that?
Observations and just existing and not really thinking about it. Just like, you know, when you open yourself up to dating, there was no intention of choosing a white guy. You know, it was just my intention was to be taken for someone to love me. I didn't really care about the skin color, but I found myself.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Like, what is your perspective of the black boys you grow up in your generation?
It was a mix, I would say. Some chose to date black girls. Some chose to date white girls.
Did you have any particular experiences growing up where we grew up with black boys?
Oh yeah.
That, because we're gonna get there, y'all. But again, this is a divested woman, black woman of color, multiracial. Obviously, we are phenotypically black. So this is a black divested woman who has married a white man. So we're kind of going back to the beginning of shaping perspective that led you to where you are now. Was there anything that happened growing up in the diverse community, any experiences that you had with the black boys growing up in that said community that, you know, shaped your opinion today in terms of your dating preferences as an adult? Were there any specific things that happened to you?
There was a lot of specific things that happened to me.
Well, go off however you want to present it to the people. What are some scenarios that took place that you experienced with the black boys?
I can remember like my first crush on a black kid in school, right? So elementary, and we were in a diverse school, but still,
yeah,
you're drawn to everybody. But like I remember my first crush on a black kid in my class, and he had found out that I had a crush on him, and his response was to get a ball and throw it at my stomach.
Yeah. And what grade was this?
What grade was this? 6th grade, but I had a crush on him for like 2 grades. Like I was crushing hard. Like he was a drummer. Like he played drums good.
Oh,
like,
shit.
So like I was just like really, really drawn to him. But like his response was to hurt me.
Yeah.
And I was so confused. It's like, what's happening? Like to me, I was just like, well, I guess he's just an asshole.
So that's one example.
That's one example.
Anything in middle school?
Oh yeah. Oh my God. I feel like it just got progressively worse.
Okay, give us. We'll do a story in middle school, and then we'll do a story in high school.
I was a pretty reserved kid, just in general, right? So I just wanted to get my schooling over with and get home. Like I didn't want to be involved in things. Like you know, I was a homebody, right?
Yeah.
So, but like when I would go to school, I wasn't talking to people like that. I wasn't like, I don't know, I just wasn't as social. I didn't start really getting social until like high school probably.
Yeah.
But like even in like middle school, I would get picked on, and it was always black boys.
Yeah.
Always. Like I couldn't understand.
Same, by the way.
I couldn't understand what was happening because I wasn't really interacting with people. What is drawing these people to me that want to hurt me? So, there was a kid that I knew from church, right? And I had seen him in 7th grade, and it was like first week of school. You know, you go from elementary to middle school. It's like elementary in one class all the time, and now you're getting older. And
you're
you have
branching
a bunch
off,
of, right? So you're not seeing the same people you were seeing in elementary school.
Exactly.
You're seeing them in passing, and I was so excited to see him. I'm like, oh my God, what's up? He walked by me and like shouldered me in the face. I know it's not funny to laugh at. I'm just like,
yeah.
And I'm just, I guess that means he doesn't want to talk
this
to me.
This is weird.
Like,
it's weird behavior. It starts young, ladies.
I was confused, right?
Yes.
And then I had another kid. Like we would take the bus, you know. And this kid was a kind of a troubled kid anyway, from elementary school.
They usually
so
are.
Into like junior high, he was just a shit starter on the bus, right? And I just remember one time just sitting there trying to just be alone, like just be in myself, right? He walked by and blinked on me. Now y'all know what blinking is, right? Where you just like do that little.
When you spit.
You spit from under your tongue.
You're spitting in someone's face when you blink. Okay?
So I got spat on the bus. Why? Your guess is as good as mine. I don't know.
Okay, now give us the juiciest experience in high school with a black boy.
I think I didn't really. Let me see. Oh yeah, so I've got one that like was really kind of like. Well, I've got a couple.
Okay, so describe this one boy that you wanna like. What did he do? What, you know, because in high school, you know, you're starting to come into your interests. So what was this guy's interest? Was he in sports?
This guy was a football player, right?
Okay.
Pretty popular.
Okay.
And I was kind of like the nerd black group. It's safe to say that the people I sounded around were like
band nerd.
We're band nerds, preppy black kids.
Band nerd.
Like,
okay.
I wasn't one part of the cool crowd, right?
Right.
This guy was.
Okay.
Right? So this guy was part of the cool crowd. And he was I observed him talking to different females, right?
Yeah.
But he bounced around.
He paused there. How old? What? Senior year? Junior year?
Yeah,
Okay.
this was
Okay.
senior
Keep going.
Year. Because I was just like, man, I'm just trying to get high school over with. I'm
Yeah,
not trying
right.
to mess with nobody. So
Keep going.
senior year, we started talking, and we just talked, and that was it. There was nothing to it. And our mother was very strict and didn't want us just kissing on boys, right?
Correct.
So I wanted to respect that, because she put our brother up to snitching on me if we and he would have. So I wasn't trying to deal with the wrath of our mother, right? So I was as behaved as I could be with being a teenager, wanting to explore having a relationship with a boy. I'm about to go to college or whatever.
Okay, and then this is just a friendly reminder. We're going to keep describing without doxing ourselves.
Yeah,
keep going.
He was very nice.
Okay,
but he was persistent about making out with me, and I was like, no. And I had told him no. And there was just one day that he just didn't want to take no for an answer. And he was a bigger dude. He was probably 6'1", football player. I don't remember what position he was, but he was a big dude, football team, varsity football. And he had grabbed me and just kissed me forced me, pulled me in, and smack on the lips. And I just remember feeling so angry and violated, and I just stood there.
Yeah.
In that moment, I stood there, and I was just my stomach was churning. I was so upset, that he did this in front of, it was all out in the open. It wasn't private. It was right there out in the open. And I was just so annoyed and irritated and angry. And I felt violated in that moment.
Yeah.
And so I was just stood there, and basically eventually told him we're good.
Yeah.
I want nothing to do with this.
Would you say this kind of was this the straw that broke the camel's back?
Kind of. Yeah, it was actually, because, we have to think about all my experiences that I had in high school and middle school with, being basically abused, taunted, abused for no reason. I was going out of class one day, and some guy, black guy, tripped me on the way out the door for whatever reason. I remember falling and scuffing up the palms of my hand, and just, I don't understand why. I remember in middle school being tormented by some kid, he would call me rat face and all that. I'm I've never had a conversation with you, and you're relentless about this, just going in.
Yeah.
Every time I had the class, I dreaded going to that class.
What about, because you're a stay-at-home mom now, and you're self-employed. But did you have any workplace experiences with black men that kind of reinforced your
let's go
your
back.
divestment?
Dude, let's go back of, our mother being a single mother.
Yeah. Started
businesses so that she
Friendly reminder, no doxing.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So that we wouldn't be on welfare, because that was just the reality. She was on welfare, and she was tired of it. She was like, I'm going to do so that I can not have to come to this office ever again. And she did.
Yeah.
To her credit, she hustled to
did.
do it. So, she had a business that, a restaurant, and I was 14 at the time, and there was this older gentleman that would come in regularly, sit close enough to where our cash register was, where I was most of the time when I wasn't serving tables, and would stare. But it wasn't just a friendly stare. Everyone knows what a friendly stare is, and when someone's basically eye fucking you.
Yeah.
So that's what was happening at 14.
Yeah.
This man was probably, for sure, older than our father. For sure, probably could be our grandpa's age.
Ugh.
Doing this.
Yeah.
Just being a complete pervy pedo pig. Right? So that's that. The restaurant closed. We moved on. Blah, 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 blah. Right? So my first job outside of the family, was working at a fitness club. Right?
Okay.
And I worked front desk.
Okay.
And so this fitness club was in a nicer part of town. So there was a lot of wealthy people that would come in,
Okay,
right?
gotcha.
Former ball players.
Almost like a clubhouse.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I was 17, out of high school, in college, working there. But I was still 17, very young. And I had two they were both former ball players, would come in there regularly, because they would play ball there. And they would, I was so like, I was pretty naive, young.
Yeah, we all are.
And they would start talking to me. They were friendly, right? They were friendly the whole time, but then they would start making comments. Over time, I worked there for I started in the summer and I worked there until I bounced, like, out of the area. They would start calling me San Quentin Quell.
Ew.
And so I was like, I don't know what that is. Like, I was so like, what even is that?
Y'all, like, look, some of this stuff I'm
triggering,
finding out now. Like, it's just we've told each other everything. We still haven't told each other everything, if that makes sense. That's
a lot that you So
That's
yeah,
gross.
they would call me San Quentin Quell. He would call me Jailbait, and they would take turns.
Ew.
These two older, they were probably in their late 40s.
And you're 17.
I'm 17. They're probably in their late 40s. They have kids older than me.
Right.
They're calling me Jailbait, talking about how they want to take me out and blah blah blah. And I'm just like,
yeah.
no.
So a lot of the predatory stuff that we talk about in this space, you've
super
experienced.
predatory. They called me Jailbait, San Quentin Quell, and I didn't know what the hell any of that was.
Right.
What is that?
We're talking a nice part of town, y'all.
Nice
like,
part of
where the
town.
hell did these makers even come from?
People with money. They had money, And
So again, what Cynthia G says, it doesn't matter when they say choose better. These nakers had money. Because they were in the clubhouse.
Oh, yeah. And, like, if I wanted to pursue that, I could have.
Right.
But it's just like, ew, you're my grandpa. Like, no.
Right.
So I basically kind of started getting fed up with where we are. And, like, even in college, I remember some, like, black guy asking me out. And I was like,
oh, wow.
I think it just started.
Like,
I was, like,
completely
literally
turned off.
I think by then I was just, like, so turned off by, like, it wasn't a conscious decision, and I think
it just happened
organically where just like, you have couple that with watching our mother be abused by black men, physically, emotionally, physically abused, emotionally abused, cheated on, like just, that was her preference, was black men.
Right.
Black men, not just like
chocolate. That's why we're phenotypically black ladies.
That's her preference is dark men.
Yeah.
That's just what it is.
Yeah.
And so watching her be abused, watching her, like, I'm talking like broken nose.
Yeah.
Abuse, ladies. Like, watching that as a child, and where was our father?
Yeah. And all the shit you went through in school.
Right. Where was he?
And let's go back to the workplace.
So workplace, yeah.
It's a diverse community.
Oh, yeah.
There's different people that work there. There's black men that work there. Are there any experiences with your black coworkers who were male?
It was mostly white, but there was sprinkles of diversity. So
sure.
Yeah. So this guy was a personal trainer, and he was like,
thought he was hot shit.
He was hot. He thought he was hot shit. All the muscles, all this, right? And he flirted with all the girls, everybody, right? And then I had been there for a while, and we were cordial. There was nothing really, there was nothing,
first.
Yeah, it was cordial. Hey, what's up, blah, 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 in passing. There was nothing there that was, like, hostile or, like, it was just cool, whatever. For whatever reason, my job was very specific. I was not a secretary.
Right.
But apparently that day he thought I was, and wanted me to call one of his clients and tell him he couldn't do such. And I was like confused. I'm like, this is new. And
she's divested hardcore at this point, ladies.
And I was like, I looked at him straight. At 17, this man's older, probably late 30s.
Oh, shit.
He was like, I was like, That's not my job.
Oh.
And he was not happy. He's like, what you mean that's not your job? I'm like, that's not my job. Pretty sure that's your job to call your client. That's not my client. That's your client. My job is that's it. I'm here to make my money and leave. I'm not here to be your personal secretary.
Right.
Blah, 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 blah. He was mad.
What did he do?
He went and snitched on me to the bosses, trying to get me fired.
Wait, were these bosses?
White
Oh.
women.
Oh. I did not
White
know that.
Women. Yes.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. That place was being run by white women.
Okay.
So he went and snitched, and they had to have a meeting. They didn't call me out or nothing like that, but they were just like, "We're all a team, guys. You know, we're all a team." La 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 la.
Would you say that these white women were allies in a way, or Karens?
Oh, I don't know. I was never treated any different.
Okay,
I think
well,
that,
that's
I would
good.
say she's an ally. She was
Okay.
an ally. Yeah.
I think that's important information.
I think she was an ally, and I think she was just trying to appease everybody in that moment so that there was no strife, right? Because
but
he got
this
really
man
upset.
tried to cost you your job.
Yes, he tried to get me fired, and
because you did your job description.
Yeah, I
and
was
not
doing
the
my
description
job
that he wanted.
I
to
was
do.
doing my job, so there was nothing for him to gripe about.
Right.
He was just mad in that moment because I didn't.
Because black
pacify
men
him.
feel that we owe them in relationships, in workplace relationships,
Especially if you're
everywhere.
younger, they think
Especially
that
if
you're
you're
impressionable,
younger.
But I mean, we're raised who we're raised by, and you know.
All right, let's pause it there. I just want to make sure that we're capturing this. So hold on, y'all. We'll be right back. All right, so we're back. So we're gonna fast forward to you leave home.
Oh yeah, I was fed up just being where we were. I just
No doxing.
And
Sorry,
so I
found
was
the
just
reminder.
like, I was like, I'm going to join the military.
Okay.
So I did.
Okay.
I bounced. I like from the moment I decided I was going to join the military to leaving was probably less than 6 months.
After high school.
4 months. I was in high school. I was in college. I was like, I don't want to be here. I want more experiences, right? So I mean, I joined the military.
Yeah.
And I bounced, and probably the best decision I ever made for myself, because that was the first decision I made for myself without anybody telling me which way to go or whatnot. Well, I mean, it sounded like, oh my God, well, yeah, you joined the military tells you what to do. Yeah, but I made that choice to serve our country, and you know, just do that.
It's a blessing.
So,
are there any experiences before you met your husband? Because we're gonna get there. But were you? Did you join the military at 18?
I did.
Okay, so you were 18 when you
18,
joined. Okay,
yeah.
so you weren't a minor anymore.
No, it wasn't a
Okay,
minor
gotcha,
anymore.
gotcha.
So, you know, I had dibbled and dabbled, like, in high school, but nothing, like, super, super serious, right?
Okay.
And then even in college, you know, I've had boys approach me, but I wasn't interested.
Okay. Now, you're in the military.
Yeah.
You've left home. You're in the military.
Oh, my God.
You are going through the process of doing your job.
Yeah.
And obviously, there's the social part of you still get your time off from the military. So
Yeah.
there's time for social hour.
Oh, yeah.
Are there any experiences before you met your husband with black men in the military that you want to talk about?
You know, like, in the military, I think that for the most part, the people that join are pretty decent people.
Okay.
You know? So there wasn't anything really negative that really happened being in the military. Or, like, even then, it was just interesting because that was really the first time I realized that, like, I was appealing to people who weren't just black.
Oh.
And so that was a new experience for me. Like, because I mean, you're in the military as a woman in the military, the ratio, the guy to girl ratio, I don't know what it is statistically, but from what
There's more men.
There's a lot more men. Oh my God. So it's just like,
so they really have to compete there.
oh yeah. So it's
I didn't even
like,
really think about that.
oh my God. Like, I mean, if you're a 4 in the real world, that's like, I'm not trying to be condescending, but you're like an 8 in the military.
Oh.
And that's just what I thought. There was a lot of chicks in the military that weren't that good looking, but they didn't care in the military, you know.
That's amazing.
So it is, you know, you're not saying join the military if you want to find a man, because that's a bit extreme. But it's
an option, ladies.
It's an observation that I noticed, you know, that...
No, it is an observation, but it is an option.
It is an option.
She just said you don't have to join the military to find a man. It's a little bit extreme. However, she found her high-value man.
That wasn't my
man,
goal.
It's an option.
That was not my goal.
No, Zoomers. Calling all black women Zoomers. When you make your decision, joining the military is an option.
It's an option if you want to experience.
It's an option.
You know more of where you're at.
Okay.
That's it. My goal was just to experience a new
life.
Yeah.
So you met your husband.
Yeah, I was open. I was just open. And that's just kind of like, I wasn't like disgusted with black men, but I'm going to explore my options. Okay. So there was no real goal. It just was like that wasn't my intent. There was no real intention.
Was it refreshing to be around more good black men in the military versus what you experienced growing up?
You know, there was a guy that was interested. I wasn't, but we were friends.
Okay.
He was pretty disappointed when I I didn't pick. Well, you know, I had.
Okay, let's get there. Let's get there.
Okay.
The white man. The white ally man that I love him literally more than my own biological brother.
So even before him, though, he wasn't the only white guy interested.
Oh, okay.
So there was other white guys interested. There were black guys. You know, it was
cool.
It was what it was.
But then you narrowed it down to
we were in class together.
Okay.
So we were in class together. Our training for our jobs, right?
Yeah.
We weren't in the same career field, but we were in the same basic class together.
Okay.
And then we branch off, to learn your specific trade. So when I was in the class with him, and he wasn't the only one I was interested, but I kept to myself pretty much.
Yeah.
But I was like one of 3 girls in the class. I was the cutest.
Whoa, come on.
It was me and 2 other white girls, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of honed in on each other.
Keep going.
And but didn't really pursue that. There was like a pretty long period of time from when we first were in class together to where we first went on our first date.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess what ended up eventually happening was we were like waiting to go in class. And this is probably like a few months into class.
Mm-hmm.
Several months.
Make sure you're speaking loud enough
so the
ladies can hear you.
We had been in class for quite some time by this point. And I thought he was cute, and I was fed up with him not talking.
So
we ended up being in line.
Wait, pause.
Okay.
Mind you, y'all, this is what, 2001?
2001.
There was no online dating.
Oh, no.
During this time.
God, there was no Facebook, no MySpace, no
none of that. People had to be brave back then and go after.
Cell phones were barely new.
This was the era of the flip phone, and you know how I feel about the flip phone. I love the flip phone.
This is pre-flip phone.
Oh, is this pre? Oh, this is Nokia.
This is Nokia. Yes. This is Nokia.
Okay, so yeah, bravery had to be a thing if you wanted to go after what you're going after.
So we had just talked about this not that long ago. Like, I remember that our first interaction was like, we were waiting in line and I had to use the restroom and I was like, here, hold my bag.
Yeah.
He said our first interaction was I went up and I rubbed my boot on his leg, on his beat. On his BD.
So both of these fools were playing games.
So I was just, there was no intention there. So like that, how you gonna bend my pen like that?
Oh, sorry.
Anyway,
give me the pen. I need to make sure I'm crossing off the thing.
So we basically, I was like, here, hold my bag. And when we went into the class, there weren't like desks, there were tables. Like, it's two to a table. And like when I came back, the doors had already been open. They were already inside. Everybody's inside waiting. And basically he had set my bag next to him. And I was like, oh, cool. This works. Cool. So my plan is working.
Your plan is working.
So we basically sat next to each other, like just cordial. I was cordial with everybody. So I just thought he was cute. I thought he was cuter than everybody. So, we just sat and we learned and we chit chat and we would kiki
and eventually it just became something.
And he was like, "What are you doing Friday night?" Oh, and I was like, "Nothing." And he was like, "Do you want to go out?" I was like, "Sure." And I almost said no.
Oh shit!
Because I was scared. Okay, why was I scared?
Why were
because
you scared?
I'm thinking like, okay, this is like my first real grown up decision outside of what our mother allowed, right? Mm-hmm. And our mother scaring us away from white people,
of course,
you know. And I was just like scared. I was scared. I know I was just scared, but I did it anyway. Yeah. So I was like, sure, yeah. And we literally had like the best time, and it was just like, I think we went to like Ruby Tuesday. We were 18. We went to like Ruby Tuesday. Aww. And
I love their story, y'all.
We literally just laughed the whole time. And like, you know, as we got to know each other, I found out where he was from, where his family's about. And like, we had some similarities. Yeah. But like, his is like a different upbringing than our upbringing, you know?
Right, right.
But that was, we're coming up on our 18-year wedding anniversary here soon.
Crazy, y'all.
Was it work? Yes. Mm-hmm. Just like any other relationship. I mean, you do have that added like stress of what society, you know, how society feels about that. And, you know, family. When, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about family. Okay. Because you guys are in it. You're in it to win it.
We're dating, you know.
It's serious. Mm-hmm. We're introducing our each other to family members at this point. Mm-hmm. So talk about your experience from our family as far as how you were treated or how
nobody was happy.
Nobody
was happy about it. Mm-hmm. And nobody. Like when our father found out, he literally called my brother, our older brother, and they tag teamed me as to why I was doing this. What are you doing? Blah blah blah. And I'm like, what? I'm just talking to somebody. Like we're just dating and hanging out. Why are you freaking out? Right. Like I was weird. I didn't understand where it was coming from. Like,
mind you, we're a diverse community. Right. These people all have their preferences. So it was very confusing for her to have her preferences questioned about her preferences. Oh my God,
I got the third degree about it. And I finally was just like, I'm not taking any more phone calls from y'all about this. We're not discussing it. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm grown. Like, I'm doing what I want.
So what were the things that, you know, you experienced with Mom?
Oh, God. She told me that this isn't going to lead to anything because it's just a fetish. You're a fetish for him. And I just couldn't understand why she would tell me that. Like,
why was it so confusing?
You don't think that I'm like I don't know. I was just confused by her. All these new feelings, I guess. Yeah. Were being thrown my way. People were projecting a lot of their issues onto me, trying to scare me out of doing this relationship.
Yeah. Well, how about Dad? Were there things that, you know, because you guys, you're in the military, you served your time. Your husband decides to serve a little bit more time, and then you kind of transition from being a working mom to being a stay-at-home mom. Talk about that, and you know, what was your experience as far as your decision to exit the military, stay with your husband? Was there any new things that was talked about from as far as our family members and their judgment
Well,
for your relationship?
I mean, we had gotten married a couple years before I got out.
Okay.
They didn't even want me to get married.
Okay.
Nobody showed up to the wedding. Nobody supported the union.
Yeah.
You know, they just weren't. They weren't about it. So it was what it was, and that probably started my, I guess you would say, divestment from
Family.
them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because this is someone who's, showing me love and treating me how I want to be treated and whatnot, and there wasn't any support. When I decided I wanted to get out, what made me want to get out was that we were expecting, right?
Oh, right.
And us both being in the military, there's a possibility that we could both be deployed at the same time.
Right.
And
Okay.
so before that, you have to sign what's called a family care plan. And what that is basically if you both get deployed and you both die, who's going to take care of your kids? And I was like, oh no. No.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing this. This is not worth it for me
Yeah.
to leave my kid with just anybody.
Okay.
So I decided I wanted to get out, and I was terrified because it was like, okay, so now what? What am I supposed to do? Because my whole plan was to stay in and ride it out 20 years. That was my plan, and now I'm changing.
Mm-hmm.
And we discussed it, and he supported me getting out and being a stay-at-home mom.
Your husband.
Or my husband, yeah.
Wow.
And so when I brought this to our father,
Mm-hmm.
he was not supportive at all. He was like, you're lazy.
What else would he call you?
That's pretty much it. He just said I was lazy, and I'm like, okay. I don't know how that makes me lazy, taking care of our kid full time. And when I got out, I before I even got out, I was looking at going back to college.
Mm-hmm.
So not only am I a homeschool mom, I'm going to school full time, or homeschool mom, stay at home mom, going to school full time.
Mm-hmm.
And doing my little side hustle.
Mm-hmm.
I started watching kids who were also military kids,
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the community that we were in. So I was watching other people's kids. So I was bringing in a little bit of, not as much money, but I was still bringing in. I was being supported by my husband during that time. But somehow in the eyes of our father, that made me lazy.
Yeah.
So I just didn't understand. I just never understood his logic on really anything. Once I decided to, because we didn't really have a relationship with him growing up. He was here, there, and then when I was an adult, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to make the effort to have a relationship with him outside of what everyone else is telling me. I gave him a chance, right?
Yeah.
So, there were some good times and there was not so good times. And a lot of the not so good times came from his opinion on my union with him, me even deciding to have a child with my husband. When I found that I was pregnant, I was so excited. His parents were through to the moon excited, right? So excited. They were like sending me gifts, they were so excited. When I told our father, the first thing he told me was like, had you considered an abortion?
Wow. Amazing.
So,
which reinforces the idea that Black parents don't value their offspring.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, I'm laughing, but I'm laughing uncomfortably.
So it was weird.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't married at the time. When I got married, he was still dating his preference, right?
Yeah.
They eventually did get married, but before I even wanted to get married, he was like, "Are you sure you don't want to do this?" And he was even asking my spouse, "Are you sure? How are you going?"
You think that was
your
because?
Daughter?
Do you think that's because he was white?
I don't know. Maybe.
Did
Could
you
be.
ever have any discussions with your siblings and our dad about their preferences?
We eventually that happened like later on.
Oh, okay.
So like with our father, that was more early on. Those discussions were more early on, and then he would eventually, my spouse. So, but we still didn't have a relationship. We weren't that like close or nothing like that. With our sibling, he like we had more of a long distance relationship too because he was military as well.
Right.
But when we finally decided to settle in a location, we ended up moving closer to him. So this is when we both were finally out and done with the military.
Right.
And we decided to settle somewhere. And
with your family.
Yeah. And so as we started to kind of build that relationship as siblings, his pathology started to emerge. So not only am I dealing with our mother's issues, our father's issues, now I'm dealing with my brother's issues. Meanwhile, he's not married to a black woman.
Yeah, right.
Our father, not married to a black woman.
Right.
But they want me to, like, even when I was wanting to get married, our father was upset, and he was like, you need to be out there playing the field, blah, blah, blah. He was encouraging me to be promiscuous instead of settling down. He wanted me to be promiscuous. He wanted me to get an abortion.
Right.
Instead of settling down and being, you know.
Sorry, y'all. There's a bunch of dogs in the background going ham. Okay. So we talked briefly about your experiences with our family. How were you treated by his family?
For the most part, pretty well.
Would you say they're way more accepting than our family?
They were way more accepting of our relationship than our family was accepting of our relationship.
Yeah.
They were way more open to it.
Yeah.
So like this whole idea that like, oh, white families, you know, they're not accept that wasn't the case in my case. Was there some work that needed to be done? Of course. Because you're trying to blend two different cultures.
Yeah.
Right? Two different life experiences, you know. Even in our relationship, me and my spouse together, I had to work through childhood trauma. I had to work through societal expectations of me and us being together in public. Oh my God.
Well, let's talk about those experiences that you had in public. Is there a specific time that you want to elaborate on?
So our first like duty station was in the South.
Yeah.
The South. Like, so, us together, our first duty station was in the South. And I just remember there was quite a few times, where the locals were just, you know, we weren't treated as kind, you know, by some of the locals. So there's just one time where, we had walked into like a jewelry store and nobody saw us walking together. We kind of like he went and looked at this and I went and looked at that, right? Yeah. I'm sitting at the counter just looking. Nobody talked to me, nothing, right?
Where was your husband?
He was looking at watches. And when he was done, he came up with me. Finally, the lady was like, "Can I help you both?"
Oh, wow.
And we were both like, "No," and walked out. Because, you know, that was just, we're already experiencing the racism, you know, that comes with, because that's just the reality. Yeah. Nobody wants to see, I mean, you can see black men with white women all day long.
Well, of course, this is also at a different time.
Right.
It's way more, they were doing this when it wasn't cool to do it.
I think, I don't even really remember ever
it's
seeing.
Still, you know, the dust is still making it uncool. But, you know, this was really, really when it was not. This was pre-agenda.
God,
pre-agenda.
Even an agenda. I just think that, you know, black women are just.
I use that term lightly because I love the agenda. Okay, I love it.
Opening their options,
right?
As they should. There was no real we just liked each other. Yeah, that was it. We liked each other, and that was it. But everybody else was putting the pressure on us. Sure, you know, reminding us of who we were or who they think we were, whatever. Societal expectations of us.
All right. So, all right, y'all. So this is all good, but we're going to take a quick pause. It's not going to be a pause for y'all, but we're going to take a quick pause and then we'll be right back. All right. Love you guys. Hold on. Be right back. All right, we're back, but we're not back for y'all. You guys didn't even hear a pause, so you guys know how I do. I'm still figuring it out. I'm still figuring out the technology, but this is good stuff. Okay, so I want to talk about divestment from family, because I've definitely talked about that. Talk about your perspective as far as your divestment
even outside of you being in a relationship, just for yourself.
Yeah.
Like if you have to be a little selfish. You have to think of your mental health and your and removing toxic people. And that's hard because you're going to feel like you're grieving the loss of that person, and you have to allow yourself to go through that, because on the other side is like, okay, I'm taking care of myself. I need to be strong enough to handle life. Life is hard enough. Life is hard for being a woman of color. Life is hard for being a black woman.
Of course.
Already, you don't need added toxicity for what? So, it was like a long transition of divesting from our family.
Okay.
Or not everybody, but the people that were the most toxic.
Yeah.
Because nobody's perfect. But there are people who are intentionally malicious,
right,
and they need to be cut out of your life because it's cancerous. So during into my younger adult years, out of the military, I was really trying to have a relationship with the men in our family.
Okay.
But when I was hearing things that were being said to my husband in private when I wasn't around, to him about you need our own father, you need to be with a woman that's gonna take care of you. Because I wasn't already I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm taking care of the. No, I think their intent was they wanted to be house husbands.
Oh yeah.
That was their goal. They had told me that was their goal, to be taken care of, to be house husbands. And the fact that I was just, those traditional feminine roles. I mean, I consider our family neo-traditional. So
well, what do you mean by neo-traditional?
I believe in gender roles that are natural, but I don't know how else to explain it. But we're both cooking and cleaning. We're both, but I'm still rearing our children. He is too. But we have those traditional roles, but we're a modern family. Yeah. I do homeschool. So I do that, and yes, you can too.
Oh yeah.
My son is already starting college, so I homeschooled him pretty much from first grade on.
Yeah, we have a family joke about that, y'all, because I was in public school. He was educated by my sister. He scored college level English. I did not. Now, I am telling on myself a little bit. I promise y'all. I know we talk about how remedial the Nakers are, but I promise you I'm not remedial. I just was not interested in that damn test. And so I just was like, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. So that's why I was in remedial English. But that's the public school. The public school is partially to blame for that because I hate public school.
We can have another discussion. We can have a whole discussion.
Oh, we are. But he scored. My nephew was educated by my sister, and he scored into college English. So, yeah, we have this is how black women can shape their own children.
I mean, just you have this one life, and how much of it are you going to be in control of? Yeah, So for me, going through the public schools, I don't want to get sidetracked on that, but we could have another discussion on that.
I'll know.
Yeah. So basically, back to why I divested from our family, or certain people in our family, was just because of the negativity. I was tired of it. I was tired of the things that were being said to my husband. I was tired of, and he was tired of it too. Yeah. He was tired of it, and he didn't want to overstep his boundaries, Yeah. And clowning my family. Because I was, at the time, I was trying to appease everybody, and it's not like they didn't get along. They liked him, but they just didn't like me. It's almost like they weren't happy with me being happy, and it didn't make sense to me. I'm your sister, right? You're concerned about me. You care about me, supposedly, right? But you don't want me happy. That doesn't make any sense to me. You don't want me taken care of. My husband is allowing me to sit in my femininity, and you don't want that. That bothers you? That didn't make any sense to me. And I just got fed up with it.
Yeah, so it kind of reinforces that black men are some of the biggest feminists.
And not even... They're white feminists, because if we can get into this about black feminism and white feminism, and I mean, if anything, I'm a womanist. You know? We can get into that another time.
Shout out to Women's Fair.
But I feel like they've taken a lot of white feminist talking points, because when you look at, I know a lot of white feminists. There's no value. They can say, "Oh, we're all pro choosing what you want with your life," but they look down on women who decide to stay at home. Yeah. If you're not part of, slaving all day in the corporate office being miserable, then you're not that's not the kind. We don't want you. That's not the kind of women we want, right? But I feel like they've taken a lot of those talking points. I wanted to be... I knew from the young age that I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. I knew that from, being a young girl. That's what I wanted. Yes, I had my own ambitions on what I do have my degree. I'm educated. I have my life experiences, but ultimately I wanted to raise my children. And I've done that. I was fortunate enough, and I have the support from my husband to homeschool my kids. Yeah. But I was just so fed up with their bullshit and the things that they were saying, and not being encouraging, and you do need that. When you have a relationship, number one, you need encouragement. You need help, especially if you're a young couple. But if you're a young couple going through toxic society, toxic family members, that is a very hard strain, and you have to be strong in your union, so that nobody can come in and tell you shit. And that's what we had. We decided a long time ago to focus on our union. So our union had to be strong, so that anybody else that tried to come in and throw their bullshit, we could repel. And so,
So what is your biggest advice for the black woman that's going out there for the first time? She's exploring her options. She's open to other races and eventually gets into an interracial relationship. What would be your biggest advice for the women that are exploring their options and the women that are newly in their interracial relationship?
Well, you have to be secure in yourself first. That's probably number one. You have to be secure in yourself, and that's a never-ending journey, right?
Of course.
To self-improvement, self-care, making sure your mental is good. You have to take care of yourself first. You have to be secure in yourself first. There is no self-hate over here. Not on my end.
Of course.
Please.
Melanin popping. Okay.
I can go out in the sun for, quite some time and not burn. So
gush about your husband a little bit. How is he? Talk to the people. They want to know.
I love him, and I love how he loves me. I really do. I love our banter. And we banter so much.
It's ridiculous, y'all.
We talk about, and nothing is off limits of what we discuss. We don't tiptoe around race issues. We don't tiptoe around social justice issues. We don't tiptoe around anything. We don't we talk. We talk, and we make fun of, we make light of reality. Not to a point where we're just dismissive of it, but we joke about, we laugh a lot, and it's not like it's not a fairy tale, but I'm happy.
Is he protecting over you?
Very.
Do you feel? Talk about the common misconception in Blackistan that white men are afraid of black men. Have you had any personal experiences in your marriage dealing with when your husband had to protect you,
Oh, yeah.
particularly from black men?
So, very specific was with our brother.
Oh.
Our brother. And you know, growing up, you hear black men are tough and white men are scared of black men. That's just what you're told.
Right.
Right. So you have this going into adulthood. And I just remember seeing that wasn't the case with our brother specifically, because he was popping off at the mouth at his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I had stepped in to protect her. I was like, you know, don't talk to her like that. And he was like, shut the fuck up to me. And
our brother's wife.
Yeah.
A preference.
His preference, right?
The same black man that she got the same black man.
You know, she was
that black women get.
Yeah, he was he you know,
So you were trying to protect our sister-in-law.
Yeah, so I was trying to protect our sister-in-law, and he started trying to holler at me, and then my husband was like, no, very calmly, like, you're not going to talk to my wife like that.
And what happened?
We can go now.
Oh, wow.
And I remember being so scared. Like, I was, my God. Like, I'm scared. And, like, seeing our brother crumble under that pressure of a white man, like, standing up to him, I'd never seen that before.
Yeah, that had to be very traumatic.
He was like, I'm not dealing with this. I'm leaving.
Have you ever been catcalled by black men while you were with your husband?
So there was this time where our first duty station, and black men catcalling women in the South is just like, if you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. They're relentless.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. They're just relentless. Okay. I've never experienced it as much as I did living in the South. So I remember this time we were in the mall, and I had just had our kid. I was pushing our child in a stroller. And my husband had walked ahead to go look at some sneakers, and I was trying to maneuver through, the aisles. And there was two black men standing there, and they were like, damn. And I was just like, ooh. Well, I kept walking, and I was like, man, they just
she just did the double chin face, y'all. Just just to give you a visual of what her face was like.
It's like I'm like, why? Like,
all right, let's pause it right there because we need to make sure we capture this. Be right back, y'all. Okay, so we're picking back up on the cat calling when you were with your husband. Okay, so homeboys just got done saying damn, right? So what happened?
And so I was annoyed because I mean, this is like, we had lived there 3 years, 4 years, I don't know. We were there a long time, and it was just so relentless that I was just so annoyed. Yeah, and I think you could just see it on my face. And my husband was like, "What's the matter?" And I'm like, "Well, they just catcalled me." He was like, "What?" And he, without skipping a beat, he walked over there and was like, "What did you guys say to my wife?" And they were like, No, nothing. Like, their whole demeanor changed. Like, they were all, like, bold together. And then when he approached them and confronted them, they were like, oh, we didn't say nothing. Two.
He took on two nakers by himself?
Two of them. And I was just like, oh. I was, like, so nervous. But, yeah.
That reinforces the myth that white men are afraid of black men.
He's so protective. So protective. He's very introverted, right?
Right.
But steps up when he has to.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that he allows me. He loves me for me. He loves me and allows me to, be my best self. I mean, we both encourage each other to do better, and when we met, everyone always talks about falling in love with potential, but he actually showed the potential to what he could be. I knew he could be great. As long as we supported each other, right? And so now I guess you would consider him a high value man, and rubbing shoulders with executives and very important people.
He didn't start there.
We didn't start there. We built to that.
Yeah.
And I think that me taking a more supportive role of his career, and it's still me bringing. I hustle on the side. I've got my own things going on, but me taking on a more traditional role of supporting him and his, and believe if we needed to part ways, I would be good.
Yeah.
I know how to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And I bring in my own income.
Yeah.
But I know that our family financially will benefit more by me being able to support him in growing, because that means that we move a lot.
Yeah.
So that's harder to move when we're both working, and because it just created too much strife. So I decided to get creative with how do I make our family more mobile so that I could support his growth and him moving up the ladder. And so now we're doing pretty good, and I'm still not allowed, that's not a good word.
You're able.
I'm fortunate and blessed enough that I can continue homeschooling, do my side hustle, and just exist.
Rest in your femininity.
Rest in my femininity.
So let's kind of try to draw this to a conclusion. I have a really good question to ask you, because my followers know that I'm multiracial, and now they know you're multiracial. We're multiracial Black women. We're Black phenotypically. People know what's going on. They ask us what we are all the time, but we're Black. For some nakers that will say, oh, but they're mixed, so that's how they're able to pull a white man or whatever. What would you say to our beautiful goddess, salt of the earth, deep brown skin girls out there who are opening up? Quick interruption. I was gushing over a divested couple today, y'all. They were having brunch together. They were a gorgeous, beautiful, dark-skinned Black woman with locks, with a fine white dude who was tall. And I was so happy for her. But okay, side note, but what would you say to the...
Don't listen. Do you?
Yeah.
And, this goes... And I think that, I've... From talking to, white guys... and how they... I think a lot of them are afraid, almost, to approach...
White men.
I think that they just don't know that they can approach.
Yeah.
Go for it, because mine did, and look how that turned out.
Yeah.
And a lot of Black women that I know that are divested are all married.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful family, happy.
Hold on, y'all. She's closing the door because the dogs are acting up again. All right, she's back.
And they're all everyone that I know that is married to a white man, they're all darker than me.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
Same.
All of them.
All the Black women that I know are all dark too.
And where we're living now, when I see our type of swirl.
Oh, yeah.
It's always
Child.
beautiful Black women, gorgeous. So I just think that's a Black man's insecurity that they are projecting onto Black women. And that's their shit that they got to do.
And that's because they can't pull the actual high-valued white woman.
When we see it the other way around.
Yeah.
It goes without saying. We know.
Yeah.
Everyone knows.
So, final thoughts, and then we're going to wrap this thing on up.
I don't know.
For you.
For me? I don't know. What do you
So go for it. Go for it, ladies. This is a perspective of a divested Black woman. So bottom line is go for it.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Don't be afraid to go for it. I mean, and is it work? Yes. Just like any other relationships work. This is just a different type of work.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know what it's like to grow up in an American society as a woman of color, as a Black woman. He has no idea. So we talk about it.
Yeah.
We do.
So
we talk
find
about
a partner that understands. And I've already told y'all that.
That understands. You can't just, I'm not saying go get, all lives matter type of, no.
Yeah,
that's not going to work.
Yeah, no.
Sorry. It just isn't.
It has to be an ally.
Yeah,
white
he has
man.
to be an ally. I mean, it's embarrassing, but he knows more like about like hip hop than I do. Like we
yeah.
joke about it, like, but he really, really does. Like,
Yeah.
I just think that it's just and he's a white boy.
Yeah.
Like he's not like
No rhythm.
no rhythm.
He's over there laughing.
No rhythm. He skydives. He rides motorcycles. Like
Yeah.
he is a white boy. Like
That's my bro, y'all. I love him so much. I love the way that he takes care of my sister.
And he's taught me how to protect myself.
Yeah.
He's taking me to the gun range.
Yeah.
To teach me how to protect myself if I need to, you know, and he just loves me.
Yeah.
Truly, deeply loves me. And there's never been, it's not even about race for us. For him, he's told me over and over, he's like, when I talk about you, I never preface it with, this is my black wife. He's like, no, you're just my wife.
Right.
You're my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a picture of me on his desk, at work. Like, there's no shame. And he's very
there's no
proud
shame.
of you. He's very proud. I've met a lot of
the execs,
and I've never felt uncomfortable. I've never felt, I have to battle my own, like, oh my God, are they going to treat him different? Right. My own traumas and what I've been told growing up, are they going to feel a certain way about him because he's married to a woman of color, a black woman?
Yeah.
But it's never been like that.
Yeah.
I've never felt like that. He's never been passed up for, like, no one treats him any different.
Yeah.
And I don't get treated any different. No one to my, not to my face. Like, no one treats me any different. So I don't know where all these black men are coming up with these stories. Like, I want to know how many.
Their lives.
Like, I just, like, how many white people do you know in these high power positions or any, like, that you can have all these stories, So to me, it's just be open to anybody that's going to show you love and not just BS love, like shows you love. And it's just about spitting game.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much
make them show you.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, this is good shit, y'all. So anyways, y'all better like this video, comment, share, subscribe, because I wanted to make sure that we bring forth this discussion because it's very, very important. And I think the message is very important. By the way, we are going to hear from my brother-in-law. I'm going to get his ass to sit down here with me too, to tell y'all the truth so that you can hear it from the horse's mouth from a high value. Fine. My brother-in-law is fine. But yeah, anyways, like, comment, share, and subscribe. That's all we got for y'all. And thank you so much for doing this, sis.
Thank you for having me.
I love you. All right, I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.
What is up, black people? How y'all doing? I want to let all you black women know you need to get a white man in your life.